This morning in Northern California. Deputy Brian Ishmael responded to a call about a theft from a marijuana garden at a private home. So the sheriff's department said Ishmael came immediately under fire and was killed. An off-duty San Joaquin County deputy who was doing a ride-along with Ishmael was also wounded in that shooting. The sheriff is lamenting the loss of a local hero today.
Brian worked in this community and lived in this community. He was personable, easy to talk to, kind, and always positive.
2 men are in custody. One was shot and wounded. Deputy Ishmael is survived by his wife and 3 children.
Well, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg testified before Congress today and was grilled on several issues. One of those was Facebook's cryptocurrency project called Libra.
I actually don't know if Libra is going to work. But I believe that it's important to try new things, and as long as you're doing so responsibly. That's what has made America successful, and it's why our tech industry has led the world.
2 days ago, Facebook revealed it removed a number of efforts to spread political disinformation in swing states. As lawmakers pushed, Zuckerberg struggled to clearly answer whether the tech giant fact-checks political ads.
We work with a set of independent fact-checkers who...
Somebody fact-checks on ads. You contract with someone to do that, is that right?
Chairwoman, yes.
Zuckerberg stressed that Facebook's defenses against disinformation are now more sophisticated.
Now to a developing story. The impeachment inquiry targeting President Trump temporarily halted. This is after House Republicans stormed a closed-door session.
As ABC's Rachel Scott shows us, lawmakers accused House Democrats of lack of transparency.
In Washington, the standoff between Republicans and Democrats reaching a boiling point. Frustrated House Republicans barging into a closed-door hearing in a secure room in the Capitol with their cell phones, disrupting the testimony of a key witness in protest of the ongoing impeachment investigation. Intel Chair Adam Schiff says the interviews are conducted privately so witnesses cannot coordinate testimony. Republicans on the committees investigating impeachment are in the room, but Republicans outside those committees are demanding more transparency.
There's no reason why the American public shouldn't be able to watch this in real time live. This is a process lacking legitimacy, credibility, and fairness.
Democrats urging their colleagues across the aisle to follow the rules.
Republican members who are not on the committee's jurisdiction try to go into a secured area. They also brought in their cell phones, which is a violation. They violated the House rules.
That latest round of questioning put on pause hours after yesterday's explosive testimony by the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, Bill Taylor. Behind closed doors, Taylor, a West Point graduate and Vietnam veteran, gave his detailed account of how the Ukraine saga unfolded. He says he was told 8 separate times that President Trump demanded pressure be put on Ukraine to investigate 2016 election interference and Joe Biden and his son. Some Democrats say it was the most shocking testimony they've heard yet.
This is my most disturbing day in Congress so far.
But the impeachment investigation started with one whistleblower sounding the alarm, President Trump asking where that intelligence official is, as some lawmakers in his party want more details.
I'm not going to let a Democrat tell me there's nothing there. This is terrible, and a Republican say there's nothing there. So I don't know.
While some Republicans continue to rush to the president's defense, others, like Senator John Thune, say they want more transparency. But he also says, based on the reporting so far, the picture coming out is not a good one. Rachel Scott, ABC News, Washington.
2 balloons floating 500 feet above San Diego.
We have the right atmosphere for it, the climate.
How they're supposed to protect our skies.
A giant bulldozer used to help preserve Del Mar's beaches, while those in charge say the work being done along our shore is just a giant Band-Aid.
And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle open up about both happiness and hardships in an exclusive ABC documentary.
And 78 degrees in San Diego, but we're getting ready for another round of 90s, even at the coast. We're back in 90 seconds.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are opening up like never before in a candid and deeply personal interview.
Their documentary airs tonight right here on ABC 10. ABC's Marcia Gonzalez has more with the journalist behind it and a look at some of the program's most eye-opening moments.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle splashed across the covers of British tabloids, the couple getting backlash for their royally uncharacteristic candor, as well as praise for their vulnerability, following their revealing interviews in the ITV special Harry and Meghan: An African Journey, airing tonight on ABC.
There's been a lot of talk in the press about rifts with your brother. How much of that is true?
We're brothers, we'll always be brothers. We're certainly on different paths at the moment, but I will always be there for him, and as I know he'll always be there for me.
One thing about Harry, he's always been one of those people, if you ask him an honest question in private or in public, he will tend to give you an honest answer, for better or worse.
Veteran British journalist Tom Bradby followed the royal couple on their 10-day trip through Africa. The longtime friend of the royal family sharing an intimate look at the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's personal struggles.
Thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay. But it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
And the answer is, would it be fair to say not really okay? As in, it's really been a struggle.
Yes. It's not enough to just survive something, right? Like, that's not the point of life. You've got to thrive, you've got to feel happy.
The reality I found was just a couple that just seemed a bit bruised and vulnerable. It seemed the right journalistic thing to do, to try and tell that story as empathetically as I could.
And we'll hear much more of these conversations in that hour-long documentary airing tonight here on ABC, including what Meghan says about marriage and motherhood. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Harry and Meghan: An African Journey gets underway at 10 o'clock right here on ABC 10, and then we're back with more news at 11.
Another reminder that what you read on the internet isn't always true, especially in the battle for your money. A Texas skincare company settled with the Federal Trade Commission this week over claims they created fake reviews. Employees for Sunday Riley allegedly posted fake positive reviews for its products on Sephora's website for 2 years. The FTC says they would also get negative reviews removed. This all came to light when a company email was leaked containing instructions on how to make sure the reviews couldn't be traced back to the company.
The Phoenix police officer involved in a controversial dollar store shoplifting incident has been fired.
I think I might be able to get a good night's rest for once.
Drayvon Ames and Aisha Harper said that they did not realize their 4-year-old daughter had walked out of a dollar store with a doll. When officers responded, videos showed the officers using excessive force while hurling expletives, even pulling a gun on the mother while she held her child. After the investigation, a review board recommended suspension for the officer who manhandled Ames. The chief took it a step further.
In this case, a 240-hour suspension is just not sufficient to reverse the adverse effects of his actions on our department and our community.
The officer was seen aiming a gun at Harper as she held her child, received a written reprimand for the language he used.
One man's body turned into a brewery, making him drunk without even drinking alcohol. And it's all because of some antibiotics he took for a thumb injury. After being stopped by police, a blood test revealed the man had twice the legal limit of alcohol in his system, but he hadn't had anything to drink. Doctors discovered he has what's called auto brewery syndrome. Doctors say antibiotics he took years ago may have killed the good bacteria in his system. That, in turn, created a fungus that would feast on carbs and, in the process, create alcohol.
Now, 10 News Pinpoint Weather, sponsored by Mozzie Heating, Air and Solar. Voted Best Heating and Air Company 2 years in a row.
I could have used that excuse in college a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh.
It's just gross, though.
Could you imagine? No, gosh. Wow.
No.
Don't even want to imagine.
It's not good.
Yeah, not good. And also not good in the weather department. It's getting hot, windy, Santa Ana winds, high wind warnings. We have it all. It is not exactly what you look forward to in the month of October, but we know in the past we've seen some pretty big fires in the month of October. As we look outside, it is clear, it is sunny, it is a peaceful evening in Pacific Beach, and it should be a gorgeous sunset once again. Temperatures are back down to the upper 70s in Carlsbad, but it's been a warm day today. 88 in Poway, 84 degrees in Alpine and Chula Vista, back down to 75 degrees. And as we look at the last 24 hours, we have seen a drop of about 2 to almost 10 degrees near the coast. Now, just as quickly temperatures dropped from yesterday, they're going to rebound tomorrow, adding another 5 to 10 degrees around the county. 90s will be back for the coast. We had 90s yesterday in downtown San Diego, and it's very likely we'll see a repeat on Thursday and also on Friday. Inland communities will average right around 94 degrees. The overnights will stay in the 60s, and relative humidity is down in the teens. It's going to be even drier once Santa Ana winds get started, and that'll happen overnight and into tomorrow. Fire danger will stay at a major concern for Thursday and Friday. The winds will start to subside in the afternoon. And even though the winds will not be as strong on Saturday, the reason why we keep that fire danger elevated on Saturday, it's actually in relation to the relative humidity. The air will stay very and actually dangerously low. That's how low the levels of humidity are in the atmosphere. You can see the winds will start to increase tomorrow morning, Thursday at 7 a.m., gusting up even near the coast over 20 miles per hour. And just as I've mentioned this week, this one model is typically a little bit on the conservative side. So we are expecting to see winds as strong as 50 to 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour in some isolated areas. The strongest winds will happen overnight Thursday into Friday. We'll see areas like Ramona, Alpine, Escondido, and even Poway will be in the midst of some of the strongest winds that we are expecting with this round of Santa Ana winds for the rest of the week. In our 10 News Pinpoint 7-day forecast, getting close to 90s tomorrow, and then again on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will start to see improvements. Much cooler on Sunday as a storm system will begin to move across the west coast and actually is going to sweep much cooler air from Washington state all the way down to San Diego. By next week, 75 degrees. But of course, the focus is for tomorrow and Friday. But we know there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to feel like fall next week. But for the rest of the week, scorching heat and strong Santa Ana winds.
Got to get through the next couple of days.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Angelica.
All right, it's time to get a look at traffic with Officer Tommy Strickland. How's it looking, Tommy?
Oh, there's a lot of traffic out there, Lynn. Just take a live look. If you're traveling on that northbound 5 in the Del Mar area, that's stop and go traffic, and then that's going to be a slow drive for you all the way up to Carlsbad. And then the southbound 15, that starts to slow right around Miramar Road. That's stop and go traffic until you get down to Arrow Drive as well. And then also, if you're going northbound 5, right north of Old Town, we have a 3-car crash. That's 2 vehicles on the right shoulder and 1 vehicle still in the lanes of the right lane there. That's why traffic is slowing there. I'm Officer Tommy Strickland with your 10 News Time Saver Traffic.
A family's home destroyed after an SUV plowed right into it. The driver arrested on suspicion of DUI. Coming up, the problems the homeowners have had with drivers in their neighborhood.
And a new plan to hold police officers accountable takes another step forward.
Skycam View, sponsored by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better.
A driver was arrested on suspicion of DUI after plowing into this home in Otay Mesa West, taking out everything in its path. This happened right in the middle of the night on Norstad and Palm Avenues. The driver lost control, we're told, blew through a patio and into the dining room. Patio chair got lodged in the front grill of the car, too. The couple inside, they were sleeping at the time, different part of the home. They weren't hurt. Their son-in-law says this neighborhood has had its fair share of problems with drivers.
This is the 3rd time that this has happened to my in-laws. The previous time, one of the cars got pushed into the neighbor's property.
Well, the passenger says the SUV was his car, but he let his friend drive, thinking that she was okay. Police say they found open containers of alcohol in the car.
A proposal to change the way the current police review board operates is headed to the city council after a committee voted unanimously to move it through. 10 News reporter Marie Cornell has details on the changes a group of San Diegans are pushing for.
After listening to more than a dozen citizens who talked about why they wanted to make changes to this board and put it on the ballot, this committee has decided to move it forward. At one point during the meeting, they stood up with purple signs in hand, showing support for this ballot measure proposal. The proposal would scrap the current Community Review Board and replace it with the new independent community-led Commission on Police Practices. This would mean independent investigators and legal counsel not connected to the city, and they'd be able to subpoena for both witnesses and officers, legal powers the current review board does not have. Those who testified told the committee this is a step in restoring the trust that's missing within the community.
I support the independent commission because that will create true trust with the community. For far too long, this distrust have been going on in our communities. This is the perfect opportunity for us to move towards the right direction.
Police review commission boards are not an item to get at police. It's a way to improve our law enforcement services.
The next step in this process is that this issue will be brought before the full city council. In downtown, Marie Cornell, 10 News.
2 balloons floating 500 feet above San Diego.
We have the right atmosphere for it, the climate.
How they're supposed to help protect our skies.
And a fraternity at Penn State suspended after a high school senior was found in cardiac arrest and did not survive.
And an officer recovering after a crash, a motorcycle officer. I've got an update on his condition coming up next. I'm Derek Stahl in the 10 News Live Center with an update. We've just learned a CHP motorcycle officer is recovering from surgery after a nasty crash yesterday in San Marcos. We've learned that the officer suffered a severe injury to his right leg, but that injury is not considered life-threatening. Now, around 9 a.m. yesterday, witnesses say the officer's motorcycle crashed into the back of a van on the eastbound 78 near Nordall Road. Lanes were closed for several hours while officers investigated. Now, another CHP motorcycle officer also got into a crash last week on Thursday. That was on the 15, but in that case, the injuries were minor. I'm Derek Stahl, 10 News.
Well, you may have noticed a couple of large